This is your chance to be that problem solver. Gemini full moon and Mars retrograde. It's an interesting time for things not moving forward, or rather going sideways. And you, Leo, you have the ability to solve problems quite well for the community, and now a chance to prove that to the community. So that could be a time of mixed feelings, probably for you, but in the end, you're gonna come out on top. I do see that, right? Now let's see how it is in your reading. That being said, it is a general reading, so if the message doesn't resonate with you, feel free to drop the message. If it does resonate with you, drop a comment, like, and subscribe. We're going to do the DNA spread. That is the soul coming into manifestation through the tree of life. Well, an early version of the tree of life that I kind of modified. Let's see. What your soul decided to incorporate is the hanged man in reverse. It's like it's time to get active. Oh, that's a lot of white. It's time to get active and to move out of that hanged man position, right? Stop the waiting. It's time to do something, and time is kind of proving it, So you kind of have to get active now. It's good. Your soul decided to do so. Let's see in the spot of the nine. That is the topic that this experience has for you. It's coming out of sorrow. The three of swords is in the middle, but it is in reverse. So that is having a strong belief around something so strong that it causes you sorrow. And this is what you're coming out of. Like your soul decided it's time to let that go, time to let that heartbreak go, or that idea of having to impress somebody, or whatever it is that caused you reoccurring sorrow in your life. You're moving out of that. Now let's see how you're moving out of that. In the spot of the 10, that is your manifestation. It's a Prince of Swords in reverse, which is kind of cool because, you're revising a decision, and I get the strong feeling that for you, this is a Prince of Swords that is in your life, like a character in your life where you're like, maybe it's not like you said after all. Maybe I have to think for myself and be my own self again and listen to my own judgment, whatever. All these things that make you proud of yourself. That is like revising a decision to cling on to that Three of Swords kind of energy, right? To maybe over idealize someone or whatever. But before getting lost in the sauce, I will get into the reading, see how the energies balance around this spirit axis in the middle. So in the spot of the one, that is the thing that gets you going, and that is the impulse to for you to start this experience from the inside, let's say. That is Four of Wands in reverse. That is completion, but it's in reverse, so it's like you're dealing with trying to complete something, right? And trying to find that completion. Four of Wands also is a rite of passage, so it's kind of growing through that. It's actually, here it says Aries energy with Venus on the card. So it's Venus and Aries or something. So it is it's a complex energy that plays out really nice, right? So Four of Wands, a card for marriage or whatever, and if that is flipped upside down, even though I'm not supposed to read reversals with the Thoth Tarot deck, I really like the information it gives me, because here it is about you being very active or actively aware about needing something to come together here, about how something is coming together here. So either in marriage or a project or whatever. And you kind of see, well, I need to finish this up, so I need to get out of that hangman position, out of that waiting position to actually start this, right? And you kind of swallow that sorrow. Make sure though, if you swallow that sorrow, that heartbreak, that you actually forgive, or forgive is not a concept I like, that you're actually letting it go, that you're not just putting it somewhere, but you're actually not holding on to it anymore. That would be the advice in that. Now let's see how this completion being uncompleted or unraveling or very prominent in your mind or is balanced on the other side. In the spot of the two, that is satiety. So there's a 10 of cups that is oversaturation in a sense. In most parts, it's like being so happy that you don't know what to do anymore, that you have to start a new cycle. So that's basically very beautiful energy. You got a Four of Wands and 10 of Cups. So it's like mm, something came together and it feels very beautiful, overwhelmingly beautiful. So much happiness that you can share it. And that kind of gets you out of that sorrow. Something is off with that narrative, though. I mean, the Four of Wands is in reverse. I know I'm not supposed to like put the emphasis on the reversals in this deck, but I think like it's communicating with me through it anyway. So whatever that Four of Wands in reverse is, it is something unraveling that makes you really happy, and maybe it is the perverted logic that well, this not working out is a chance to prove yourself, which makes you really happy that you can share your energy and share your feelings about a situation finally, where you're like, you know what, it didn't happen because, and I'm gonna fix it. That could be it. I mean, there's a Prince of Swords in reverse. There's some decision you're walking back on, or someone you're playing against, right? I forgot to turn the WhatsApp off. I don't know if you hear it though. Yeah, fair enough. In the spot of the three, that is the insight that you're gaining from this struggling with this rite of passage, or not even struggling with it. I mean, there is there is that ten of cups. That is a beautiful card for being like, yeah, emotionally overwhelmed, but most likely in a positive sense. Like it's a completion of your emotional cycle. It's like you are fulfilled. What now? Right? That's quite beautiful. Now let's see what you're gaining from this. In the spot of the three, that is your insight, basically, from these core energies playing out. It's a Five of Wands. The Five of Wands says strife. It is a card for conflict, confrontation, or conflict of interests. Um, so, ah, man. Anyway, you're moving from a four into a five. It's like it's a little too good to be true, or you're just full of it. Quite literally, there's like a 10 of cups. That could also be you're full of it. Um, and I don't know if you want that sorrow in your life, even something to solve, right? Seems like there is a conflict within you about something feeling either too beautiful or not quite right. I mean, there's not. It's not a Four of Cups, but it's kind of coming together like that kind of energy. Four of Cups is a card for discontentment, but you have a four in the spot of the one of Wands, and the 10 in the spot of the Two of Cups. So it is in there, right? It really is in there. Um, Seems like something is off though, because you're manifesting it through a Prince of Swords. Yeah, maybe it is that logic. It's like, yoo-hoo, there's something I can fix. Let's see. In the spot of the four, that is the idea that gives you stability, that feels like home for you, and that you can fall back on in a sense, or what stability and family means to you is largely determined by. It's a nine of discs. It's a nine of discs and a nine of discs in reverse. So the idea that family makes you really, really fucking happy because you feel like you can care about someone other than yourself. So you're you're yeah, you feel comfortable with putting your own needs aside for the greater good of the community, which kind of makes you happy, right? But Nine of Pentacles is a card for happiness and manifested happiness, so like wealth, whatever. Here it says gain, your personal gain. And your personal gain is retarded or delayed in what brings you stability. So you're probably a person that is like putting their own needs aside for the greater good, swallowing their pride, but then gaining pride from swallowing their pride. Does that make sense to you? It's like being the bigger man or the stronger man, the stronger person or whatever. Um, weathering a storm is something that you're really comfortable with because it makes you proud of yourself, and being of service makes you proud, which is very beautiful. Actually, it's a good thing. It just seems to take a toll on your own happiness in a way. Now let's see in the spot of the five. That is the thing that is causing conflict. That is largely tied to the insight that you're having. It's like something needs to be challenged here, right? Something's got to give. Let's see. In the spot of the five, that is a Princess of Discs in reverse. Some project that you were working on is in reverse. Something has to be solved here in the physical. Or maybe someone to be saved. Right? It is a new venture that is causing conflict because it's not starting off right, or it's not coming together. See, the Princess of Discs is related to that Four of Wands, a completion card, right? Um, so this wants to become this, and this wants to become this, right? So your happiness is largely related to you putting your own needs aside or your own gain aside, and your your drive is that something is not like some new project or someone trying to gain a foothold in their reality is not exactly working out yet. There's something that causes conflict in this, and your insight is basically to pick up that conflict, like to address that, or just now maybe not address it but work with it. It's very interesting. um it kind of caused you sorrow, and the fact, yeah, like it causes you sorrow, not exactly worry but sorrow, whatever this is tied to. This project is like this project or this person feels kind of like a pain in the ass, and you've been getting out of your way to like make them try for themselves. Now it's flipped upside down, and you are kind of happy about it. um it's not like schadenfreude, it's more like a little like dancing the I told you so. Gemini had a similar reading with totally different cards, but it's still like, you know see, I can help you with this. I don't know whether you saw it coming or was just hoping for it. Hmm. Let's see. In the spot of the seven, that is the idea that you're very much attached to in this, or maybe also your strong suit, right? So your identity or their identity is kind of related to that. There it is. I was talking about it. The Four of Cups. It's the luxury, and the Four of Cups in reverse. So that luxury definitely is contentment. So if that luxury is not coming in, or it's coming in and it's not making you happy, if you are working something to fulfill you emotionally, and it either does not come in or it does not do the job right. Whereas like it's all luxury, but is it truly fulfilling? And you're kind of in an emotional stalemate with the things that you that you manifested here. Is that too good to be true kind of thing? Something you think you need, but actually you're thriving through conflict, which is, well, it does make sense, right? Leo always loves a good challenge. Um, don't let it be Schadenfreude though, right? Not be too joyful about someone failing or a project failing or whatever, but realize that it's actually something you're thriving on, right? You're thriving on conflict and confrontation because you're the king of the jungle. You like need a good fight or whatever. Let's see, in the spot of the 8, that is the idea that gives you abundance, that um, gives you, like, gets you moving on. It's either in the way of your own personal gain or largely working for it. Let's see. 8 of Swords in reverse, interference. Interference. Well, some belief systems are breaking down. Either them or yours? Nah. Nah, it's rather that you're working through all those opinions, and now some of those opinions have proven wrong with that Prince of Swords in reverse, or you're challenging them. And yeah, you're kind of thriving on this luxury not working out, on this not being exactly positive. It's really freaking interesting because you're very passionate and ultra happy. Like, you have a 10 of cups in the spot of your 2, is like you're in balance and emotionally fulfilled, right? About whatever it is that seems not to be exactly about you. I mean, like, you have a nine of discs in your 4th house, so to speak. So it's like, and it's in reverse. So you are kind of okay with putting your own needs aside because it's linked to your happiness. What you cannot put aside is your own conviction, and there's that 8 of Swords. And very, very interesting. I want to see in the spot of the 6 what is coming from this. The idea that either keeps you afloat or, yeah, kind of keeps you afloat, or kind of like is causing that happiness. I kind of feel like it's largely related to that happiness. Going to clarify a lot with this 5 of Wands right here. The 5 of Wands in the spot of the 3 is about you engaging in conflict or confronting something, and is oscillating with the spot of the 6. The 3 and the 6 are oscillating. Some magic numbers, around the 9, around that sorrow in reverse. So that coming out of that 3 of Swords energy is largely related to confronting something for you. And what is it? Let's see. In the spot of the 6, there's a Knight of Discs in reverse. Again, with the Court card of Discs in reverse. You have a Prince of Discs in reverse and a Knight of Discs in reverse. And a Prince of Swords in reverse. It feels like it's kind of about them, right? And there's a confrontation about a provider, about being a provider, or about someone not being able to provide, right? So it doesn't exactly have to mean like a boyfriend or baby daddy, it can, though, right? Like that, and that's a good example for a Schadenfreude. Like if you're not in a committed relationship or in that kind of family situation, bear with me here, but because the narrative might not be right for you, but the energy still fits. So you've been going out of your way and like pulling back, putting aside your own needs for this to play out. And as it played out is a Princess of Discs in reverse, Knight of Discs in reverse, and a Prince of Swords in reverse. Is that a conviction or a thought, an idea, a concept did not work out as planned or is delayed. So it's not exactly coming together as it was supposed to. And since you put your own personal things aside, trying not to fuck with this, now for you is the time to move and confront this. So it is very much the I told you so, or not. If you're not dancing the I told you so, because maybe you actually didn't tell him, you're still thriving on this not exactly working out as it is planned, because you are able to work with this 4 of Cups in reverse quite well. because you're so attached to that idea, right? I mean, on another side is like if you're attached to a Four of Cups in reverse, that means something being inconvenient is convenient to you, right? Something being out of whack is an energy that you're attached to. So you are gonna project that into your life, right? If you're thriving on conflict, conflict is what you're gonna project. And now it seems like this conflict has come in, whether or not it's your manifestation or their lack of belief, um, you know, whether it's your conviction or their lack thereof, it doesn't exactly matter. It seems like you are in a situation where you need to get out of the waiting position and kind of claim your happiness over this not exactly working out, and that you've kind of kept your composure in this, and but you were heartbroken about this. Um, I really hope that my own experience is not too much bleeding into this reading, but it shows. It freaking shows. Um, Anyway, it is very much just like this. Like all the court cards in your reading are reversed, and you're starting off with something not working out and you being extremely happy in the process, which is like, okay, freaking interesting. Then I was talking about the Four of Cups, right? When the 4 and the 10 was on the table still only, and here it is, the Four of Cups in your manifestation. So this is how it's showing in your reality, is that it cannot be satisfying because you actually don't want it to be satisfying, or rather, something not being satisfying is satisfying to you. Sounds paradox, but that's thriving on conflict. That is, Leo loves a good challenge, right? That's why the card for the Leo is the strength card, right? Or not strength in this deck. In this deck, it is lust. In the Thoth Tarot deck, it is lust, but it's still Leo and Virgo, basically, like the energy of Leo and Virgo coming together. So the lustful and well, active, fiery, passionate, nurturing presence, the one that restores harmony, like a gun called Peacemaker, that kind of like lust is an interesting card, and it's attached to the Leo energy, and it shows a lot of your core energy. So now be aware, however you're tackling that problem is largely determined by your rising sign, right? So your character is largely determined by your rising sign. When you're looking for your sun sign right now, you're a Leo sun. That means that this core energy is something you feel quite comfortable in. Now, how you're going to solve that problem and how you're going to tackle this, that then be your rising sign, or maybe your moon sign if you're night born, right? So how to go about this largely determined by the other placements in your chart, but the energy that is driving your life force energy, your core, what brings you energy, what brings you pride, what makes you feel home, all that stuff, right? What gives you passion, and gets you going, that is the sun sign, and that seems to love this conflict and this friction here, you know? So having to address a situation that is not as nurturing as it promised to be is kind of making you thrive, because you love caring for other people more than you care for yourself. There is that Three of Swords. There is that Three of Swords in reverse in the middle. I mean, Three of Swords in reverse is a good sign. It means like coming out of that energy. But that Three of Swords is bleeding into the entire reading. So it's something to look out for, right? So it could actually be a sign for Schadenfreude, where you're like, you wanted it, like subconsciously you wanted them to fail, or you wanted this to fail, because then there's something to solve and something to prove, and there's a new challenge, and somehow that's like, it's almost like a magician in reverse, where you're like, you were kind of calling for that challenge, subconsciously manifesting it. So I'd be aware of that. If you see yourself in that, actually thriving on conflict is a very positive trait. It gets you a long way. There's just You have to take a look at yourself when you are structured like that, whether you are continuously causing the conflict that you thrive on. See? So this doesn't look like it. It looks like whatever didn't come to life here is like something that you pull yourself out of, or you were not exactly involved in, or you might be involved in, right? But you didn't put your needs first here. Like, you let this play out. That's with the nine of discs in reverse, where you're like, your own happiness or your own personal gain is retarded in this stable connection, which is also linked. Like, you're starting off with the Four of Wands, right? So the house of the four is kind of explaining the problem with that Four of Wands in reverse, and that is like, you were not exactly involved, which was a good thing, I believe, at the time. But it was also, it could have been different if you were more involved in the situation. Um, However, it's like, it's not shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's more like, you got your chance to set this right now, or at least to rail back on something. You like it. It's all in reverse, but there's a shining Ten of Cups in your balance spot. So whatever this is, whatever you are revisiting right now, whatever you are revamping in your life, right? Someone that is not exactly like, living up to the challenge, for example, and you kind of knew, or you're kind of glad they don't, um, right? And there's like a lot of opinions about it. I'm very much in that relationship narrative, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be like a coworker, where you like, see, like, I knew he would kind of struggle with pulling that weight, or I knew that strategy would like hit a wall. I knew this would happen. Like, there's very little knowledge about this here. It's more that there is like a heartfelt relief of this conflict coming in, taking you out of a position that was not exactly working out, or that was at a standstill in a sense, or stressing someone out, whatever, right? You were almost worried this was going to work, and now you're coming out of that sorrow, out of that clingy feeling, because it seems like something is off with the decision they made, right? With that Prince of Swords, with that CEO, right? And like, imagine your boss tried something where you're like, you know what? I can't actually say something. It doesn't really make me happy, but I can't actually say something against it. And now it's not working out as planned, and you're talking with your coworkers like, see, I knew, like, this is shit. This is just shit, Now this happened, and now we are stuck with this system and blah. That could also be it, where like, something was promising a princess of discs and turned out to be a knight of discs in reverse, like someone overconfident and not pulling the weight, or not being able to provide what they told you to. um, but you are comfortable with that Four of Cups in reverse. You're comfortable with solving problems, or with things being off. It's like, okay, life is a challenge. Let's tackle it. So you're doing it. You're tackling it, and that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So it's interesting, because you got a lot of cards that you don't exactly want to see, and especially, or you don't want to see in reverse in a reading usually. But it's like this Ten of Cups is shining onto all of this. And with the Nine of Discs in reverse, I really get the feeling that this is not per se your problem. You're just in the mix. Or it's not, you didn't exactly fuck it up. It could be. It could be that you made a decision where you're like, you know, now that it's there, something unforeseen happened, or whatever, or something has changed, something has shifted, or we're not getting anywhere. We have to confront this. We have to confront the structure we built. So it can be that you were involved in the decision. I'm not saying take yourself out of this, but it seems like you're welcoming this this challenge. So that's a beautiful thing. Leo, if that resonated with you, drop a comment, like, and subscribe. Check out my TikTok and Instagram channel. And yeah, thank you for being with me, such a long time. And I really hope you enjoy this energy. It seems like you do. It seems like you really freaking do. Thank you so, so much. I love you.